All right, welcome to another video from the chart reader. So today we are going to be doing EV and charging. It's been a beautiful start to the year, especially with the NASDAQ doing nicely. There's a bit of a test coming up on the NASDAQ. I'll flash it quickly on this, but yeah, if NASDAQ continues, there's a lot of reason to believe many of these can continue the nice run that they did. Some of them at the end actually went a little crazy, in all honesty. Otherwise, you can see like Tesla, there's a few places where there's a bunch of reds that hopefully we can turn into greens when the situation is right? So before we get into it, let's just, what are we going to do, right? Same thing we always do, right? We're going to look at the daily and the weekly to see what's setting up. We have our 5 moving averages, these horizontal support and resistance lines that I do manually draw. And then when we're done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Again, 80% of the work really is up here. It's all about these moving averages and how they sit with the support and resistance lines. From there, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume either to kind of give us that extra confidence up here, or if there's a couple that are really good up here, let's see if we can kind of separate them from down there, okay? So with that, look, Tesla's obviously first for a reason, right? If this one does well, you can imagine others will do well. If this one does badly, you can imagine others are going to do badly, right? So there really is a reason I'm starting here, and that is also how I tried to reorder, right? By no means do I think Tesla is the best on any of this, right? There are days when Tesla will suck compared to others, and like I said, there are some at the end of this video that like went double-digit crazy, in all honesty, right? So that said, though, it's important to watch the big ones just to get an idea of the small ones, right? And what are we seeing? Look, I'm going to quickly flash the NASDAQ, okay? Because as tight as this is right here, you'll see that the NASDAQ is also on a hard test, right? So I don't even have to zoom out that much. We have not been over this 100 in a good while. There was obviously a baby attempt here that didn't really happen. Try to open up here and failed. And now, like I said, we had a good start. And if we can get through this, I mean, it would be beautiful. It'd be a lot of reason to believe we're coming to 11.5, right? So, and again, things look good down here to make us believe it. But again, this is not going to be easy to get over. We did get over it on Friday, yeah. But again, I need good confirmation tomorrow. So make sure you watch NASDAQ. If NASDAQ fails the 100, it's going to be rough for the EV and charging ones that we're about to review, right? If it flies, if NASDAQ can break the 100 and start making its way, the 200 is not even in the sight yet, right? It's well over 11.5. It's probably in the 11.7 range if I had to guess, right? Nonetheless, just keep your eye there. So coming to Tesla, I kind of started the video with it, right? Generally, when we see red, we know at some point it's going to be green. And there's a lot of reason to believe if we can break this 123 line, get over the 20, it could be a real quick elevator ride up to the 50 right here at 160, okay? That's definitely a nice percentage, right? Because every 10%, every 12 bucks is 10%, definitely about $40 worth of change right there between these two, right? So a very nice swing if it happens, right? I'm loving the MACD. That's a good separate green on top of red. That's good. Green on top of red. That's good. I like this separation. I wish this was separating a little more, but look, this has definitely made a nice little uptrend, right? It's only at 47, so there's plenty of room for it to go up. But again, it all really matters. I'll give more emphasis on the 20 than my line here, even though you can see it. It's done some tests already, right? So there is, I like this line. I definitely do. But yeah, I'm going to give a little more emphasis on the 20. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go ahead and set an alert just above the 20 line. Again, an alert by no means is an immediate indication to buy, but an alert definitely says, hey, come look at the chart, right? So do I need to make a line right here? Why are you lagging on me? Don't lag on me. Come on now. No, I'm not going to make it because honestly, that's close enough to the 50. I think the 50 is more. And in all honesty, look, that's just the one green in the string all the way well past the 50 as well, closer to this 180, right? So I don't think I need to make a line there. But yeah, this looks good if it breaks the 20, right? That's the big if right there. Look, this is not a good weekly chart, right? We are several months under the 8. Nothing good happens under the 8, right? I say that often. What could happen though is a nice swing to this 150 line right here, pretty much hitting the 8, right? Will we get over the 8? I'll be honest, a lot of that's going to have to do with the NASDAQ, and the NASDAQ's been running hot, so there's going to be a little cool off, I'm expecting, right? But just the 8's not going to be enough for me, right? The 200, bad things could have happened, but it does look like it's trying to at least not die from that 200 fail, right? So almost a 50, a little bit more than a 50% actually, right? So I mean, it did hurt a lot, but yeah, if we can make a swing up, there's definitely some good money to be made here. So again, I'm looking at the daily, I'm looking at the 20 break, and remember, I care more about the day after the break than just the first break, right? We're here for some sustained trading, right? But number of days over the 8 at least, that's a beautiful thing to see. Okay, Ford is still second on the list. Come on, don't lag on me, baby. There we go. Ford is still second on the list. And look, okay, it's interesting here, right? I'm not a big fan of trading on Fridays, okay? It's generally a little riskier. You never know what it's going to look like, and then I think the long weekend just adds to it, right? There was a nice uptrend, right? And really Ford loves the 8. Break the 8 does well, lose the 8 does bad, break the 8 does well, right? So it's good to know that Ford really does love our 8 moving average rule. I always say it, right? When there's a cluster up here, and this one's not that tight, but look how close the lines are, right? A cluster's hard to break, and this was definitely good. This is for sure a doji, let alone the fact that it didn't get over the 200, right? Don't get me wrong, but the doji never counts, and man, we got a doji the day after, but that's an ugly gap down, and that really hurt the RSI, okay? Now, RSI was relatively high. It looks like it was at least in the high 70s, right? 74 that day. What's this? Come on. Why are you lagging? I'm not liking this. This is getting me upset. I'm sorry. Yeah, 74. Again, that's not a crazy high number, but yeah, 3 moving averages, definitely hard to break. But look, plenty of profit to be made if you did play the 8 moving average rule. At this point, what's happening, right? I really care about the 8 being the bounce point up, okay? From there, if it's going to lose the 8, you better not lose the 20, right? So if you're going to come here and then bounce back up. But yeah, we at least made a good try. All right, we came back down. Hopefully the next one breaks. Or oh, sorry, I right-clicked. Because again, look, I'm just zooming out a bit. It's been, and I don't have to zoom out that much more. Look how long it's been since we've gotten over that 200. Good number of little tests. No real, I'm actually going to keep zooming out. Yeah, no real good break until, yeah, we actually lost it during the crash, right? So, yeah, a lot to be said about really this 1365 number. If you can get over that, get me a little closer to 1370, that will be a little more comforting. Really don't like this gap down, and I think it's really important to see what the day does on Tuesday. So look, again, we talked about it, right? Bad things happen when you lose the 200. This thing had a couple tests on the 200, right? But luckily it did bounce up. This just is a little sad, right? It wanted to get over the 8, and actually if I zoom in, it might have technically closed over it. It did. Look, you can see 72 cents was the close, 69 cents was the 8. So that did actually go over the 8. Again, you should know it before I have to say it, right? That is a doji right there. That definitely doesn't count. Next week matters a lot. Friday's close for sure needs to be a little closer to 13 than we are. Like, let's call it 1280, 1285, right? I would love to get over the 20. Don't get me wrong. That would be real nice to follow up with. Looks like the MACD is kind of trying to curve back up. And hey, RSI doesn't look beautiful, but I mean, it's at least green over red, right? And volume keeps increasing per week, which is not that bad. So a couple decent signs here, but yeah, obviously the close of Friday really hurt. Yeah, it's lagging. I don't know why it's lagging. Close of Friday really hurt, and yeah, I think you can see that right there. So this one's a little interesting. I like Tesla way more than Ford. I can say that much. All right, MULN, where are we at? MULN was all about this 100 moving average line, okay? Obviously, the 8 did as much as it could, and I'll be honest, I'm pretty sure I saw that this thing did really bad after hours, okay? I normally don't talk about after hours or pre-market because honestly, sometimes it fools you, okay? So I say what I'm saying with a grain of salt, but yeah, MULN looked really bad end of trading on Friday during the after hours, okay? I will say again what I said a little bit earlier. Sometimes the long weekend scares a lot of people. Just imagine if something bad happened to MULN on Saturday, okay? You can't sell on Sunday, you can't sell on Monday, you have to wait till Tuesday, and by the time Tuesday comes, a whole mess of amateurs also know, and any advantage you had by knowing early is gone, right? So that's why a lot of people don't like holding over the weekend, okay? That said, even if without that, it's all about the 100 right here, right? Good break, bad confirmation. Decent break, doji never counts, we keep working down, right? So if you use the confirmation rule, you would have known, you know, and just been aware, right? What are we looking at now? Honestly, with an RSI that actually looks like red is over green a little bit, seems like the MACD is kind of cooling off, and then yeah, volume definitely does not look like this anymore when we were going up, right? So unless we open on Tuesday well above what, 38 cents? Yeah, 38 cents, exactly. 38 would get us at the 8. There's a decent chance this is going to drop to 30. And honestly, I didn't look at after hours, so I don't know if it's low enough to even worry about coming down to 27. And look, that's a 10% gap right there. So it's a big deal if it goes to 27 instead of 30, right? So MULN looking a little dangerous. However, if NASDAQ does well, that might be reason enough to give the meme army a chance to come back and push this, okay? And I'm just going to zoom out real quickly. If the 100 is broken, come on, why are you lagging on me? Can you tell it's annoying me? You know, look, this is the first real moment on the 100 in a long time, and the 200's all the way up at 30, at almost 80 cents, right? So well more than double where we're sitting now. So even if you wait for a break of 40, there's still a 2x staring at you if it happens, right? So I would 100% be watching this 100, no pun intended. And really, I think over this 40, I'll even go ahead and set an alert at 41. Again, an alert is not an immediate buy. It's just a, hey, come check it out, right? But yeah, over 40 would look good. Look, this is an interesting weekly, right? We break the 8. We then go ahead and break the 20. Then we have a doji pretty much at 50% candle, right? I care a lot about Friday, and I really need Friday to close at 38, 39. Just give me at 40 cents. That would be even nicer. Because just like we said, look, just a big gap and a long time since we've been over the 20 on the weekly. So it really will matter a lot. But at that same token, it really, I just keep zooming out. We keep staying under the 20, right? It really will be a difficult task, okay? We need good volume. We need consistent days to close up, right? But yeah, this could do well over 40. I'll say that one more time. Right now, I think there's reason to worry. Unless NASDAQ breaks the 100, we get some good meme volume. We get one of these little runs, boom, boom, boom. Even just one good spike, get us over that 100. That would actually do really well. So I'm moving up Polestar, okay? Polestar, man, same story, and it's funny because I kept saying it. This thing was just volume away from making a big move, and it never did it. On the last video I made roughly a week ago, I kept saying just get over 3 million volume, okay? And it would be really nice, all right? And it just never did it. It couldn't get out of the cluster. I'm really happy we kept going up with the 8. It looks like we've taken this 50 pretty well. And look, single candle takes out multiple moving averages, right? If Monday can hit, that'd be a great thing. My one concern, though, is that RSI. 77 is where I start to get a little iffy. But look, you can see it. This thing's been closer to 80, all right? So, I mean, this thing can push if it wants to, right? So just watch the 100 moving average and really watch the RSI because a cool down might be needed. But I would love break the 100, cool off to bounce on the 100 and make our way up. Because look, we've seen, oh, nice. The 100 just started forming. Look, Polestar is not that old, okay? This used to be something else on the SPAC. I forgot what the letters were. But yeah, it's only been 100 days since middle of November, right? So we actually tried to break it, came back down, couldn't really bounce. We tried to bounce, right? But not enough. It'd be nice if we can break and you know, maybe do another bounce because again, it's going to have to cool down. Kind of the same levels that we were here. Seems like this one was just a little higher, right? Nice. RSI hit 90s in this. Okay, so that could be interesting. Maybe we'll get a nice little run to just under 7 and then come back and hopefully bounce on the 100. That could be really nice, actually. Where are we? Look, again, first and foremost, there are only 2 lines on the weekly. We don't even have a 9 moving average because it's only been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles, right? So there's just some funniness, right? There's no other way of saying it when you're looking at a newer stock, right? Nonetheless, look, trading under the 8 still mattered, was able to get over the 8, but then fails on the 20. Now what is it trying to do? Get over both the 8 and the 20. And in all honesty, right, because there's no other way of saying it, it will be over every single moving average. It matters a lot more when there's 5, but hey, when there's only 2 and you're over all of them, what are you doing? You're trading over all the moving averages, right? And that's still a good thing. So a lot of eyes are on that $6 number, okay? Because if I'm looking at it correctly, yeah, we closed over them both, right? We closed at 95 cents and the 8 was at 93. Obviously, the 20 was a lot lower, right? So we did break 2 moving averages on a single candle. I need good confirmation. Great confirmation would close up around, 6:30, right? Take me closer to these candles. Even better would give me 50% of this candle, a little over 7, right? But again, let's not get greedy. Right? So MACD is actually almost at 0 too, and RSI is still relatively low. So and look, we still have not had 50 weeks of trading because there is no 50 average just yet. So again, early stock, but that could do us well. Is there even a 200 move? There is not, obviously, if I'm saying the hundreds right here. So there is no 200 moving average. Let me just keep zooming to be safe. Yeah, for sure there isn't. So yeah, we break the 100, we're over all of them, right? And it still matters over all of them, right? Just because we don't have the 200 doesn't mean it's not an accomplishment to be overall, right? So I'm liking this. I really am. Little worried about that RSI, but yeah, give me just 2 days. Give me this. Give me literally even this, just a peak, and then a rise and a rise. Oh my God, that do so well, right? So give us some volume, all right? What's our number right now? What is it actually? 3 million. Get me over 3 million volume. Come on. NKLA NKLA. I did bring this one up a little bit. It's lagging on me. You can tell I'm annoyed. It's okay. Ooh, interesting. I was not looking at this one, but this is definitely well worth a watch now, all right? Bunch of things are jumping out on me. We actually do close over the 50, and we have a nice, healthy break and confirmation, right? Break the 8, break the 20. Doji doesn't count. That's not too bad. That's not too bad either, right? MACD starting to take off, getting close to 0. This is still super tight, but I do believe if this can break the 50, really, even if, I mean, that's a big line. Where are we compared to this? Yeah, that's a good line. We'll for sure draw that one, and actually I'm going to go ahead and set an alert at that one too. Boom, nice. Let me know if we can get over 262. That would be very nice to know, actually. Again, beautiful gap between the 50 and the 100. And let me just zoom out real quick. Yep. It's been a long time since we've actually, this is the first test of the 50, okay? So keep that in mind. It will not be easy, and we've seen it often, right, where it actually breaks it but then fails. The one good thing, though, is that RSI is low. And I mean, this thing just like we said with Polestar, right? If NKLA can get some volume, what's this number? 11.5 million. If this thing can get a little closer to 11.5 million on Tuesday, yeah, that would be real nice. That should break this and hopefully make our way up, right? So this is definitely an important number. We want to get over that. And look, it's actually the same as this one. So this one's definitely a good line. Not quite one, but we're almost at a golden cross right there. And I do love the fact that they're both kind of making their way up, right? What does that tell me? Hopefully, this long downward might actually start making a good upward go, right? So definitely something well worth watching. But NKLA is looking good, actually. Definitely need a little confirmation on Tuesday, but I think I like it. I do. What's the weekly at? Okay, so look, we definitely closed very nicely over the 8, but this is the first time in a long time we've closed over the 8, right? So just like I said, I want confirmation, but nice MACD, nice RSI. I like Nikola. I'll be real honest. This one looks like it's ready. And look, we saw it on the zoom out, right? There's been a lot of pain. There's been well more than a 50% drop from here. I have no idea if it was hot. Yeah, man. I mean, there's been a significant drop, and all it's been doing is failing the 200, then failing the 100, and then just getting worse from there, right? And that's why we like these, right? That's how we use them, right? As we fail down, eventually we'll break back up, right? So yeah, a lot of pain was had. Hopefully some reason to believe there's good coming here. Rivian, I've also moved this one up as well, and then the next one's the new one, okay? So Rivian, not quite there, but I'm seeing some decent stuff, okay? So first and foremost, I always talk about it, we haven't said it all video yet. Horizontal cluster, horizontal cluster, horizontal cluster. You either violently fly up or horribly, horribly, horribly drop down, okay? This is a well worse than a 50% drop, right? Because this was over 30 and we're pretty close to 15, right? I'm rounding, but shit, I'm crying that whole way down if I had any money in this thing, right? Clearly failing the 8. Clearly the 20 was there to block it if it ever crossed, and it never did. We're kind of starting to horizontal here, but I just said on the last sentence, we haven't even had a momentary test of the 20, right? So I'm a little skeptical. I almost couldn't say that word. Yeah, this was a pretty long horizontal. So I'm not as happy with Rivian, in all honesty. I wish these two lines were a little closer, because we've seen it, right? It still kind of might bounce here, then come back, and then do a little tight and then make its way up. We still don't have the 50 kind of making its way down. I think Rivian is still hurting a little bit. I haven't mentioned the word earnings, and we're 20 minutes into this video. I have absolutely no idea if any of these have released their earnings or not, so definitely keep that in mind, right? You're watching my videos to see what I think of the lines, and I always say it. Earnings can definitely move things around quicker, so I'll make sure I put it in the comments, but yeah, I have zero idea if any of these have dropped earnings, in all sincerity, so keep that in mind, okay? But yeah, I'm not convinced here and this is the worst weekly of all of them, right? This is still a bunch of red in a row. At least give me some like green for me to have a belief that we might at least make a run up to this for a quick minute, right? But look, I was talking about, and look, again, this is still a very new one, but this is exactly what I was talking about on the daily. You go down, you kind of wait for these to go horizontal, and then hopefully it goes up, not down like this. But that's why I'm worried about the daily, right? We were still struggling with the 8, haven't made any moves on the 20. The 20 and the 8 are still a little too separated to believe we're going to go horizontal, right? There's things you can take from the weekly onto literally what this kind of looks like in my head, right? And obviously the weekly is going to be 5 times slower than the daily, right? You get 5 candles for every 1 candle. Obviously next week's going to be 4 candles for every one because of the holiday in the Americas, right? But you get the point. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, Rivian not there yet. I'm actually still pretty negative on this one. Maybe if the NASDAQ breaks the 100 and runs, I'll feel a little better, but yeah, not quite just yet. So this is the new one, and I feel like I had it once on a video and I haven't shown it. Makes sense why someone asked me why, okay. So this was a comment request. Again, don't be afraid to ask me, right? My goal is to add more tickers if I can, all right? And clearly you see it, right? This is interesting because maybe this is what Rivian can do. Maybe it is actually going to be able to make the break quicker than we would expect, right? Because let me go back real quick. Did I get it right? No. RIVN? Yeah, RIVN. Sorry about that. This, my worry was these were still a little too spaced. I think Lucid's a little closer. Yeah, I mean, almost not really. That's actually almost the same gap distance, right? So interesting. And look, I still see the same string. And look, red, 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 red very quickly turns to green, 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 green when the conditions are right, okay? I love the fact that this MACD is looking real nice. That's a good little healthy separation, getting close to the 0 number, if not positive. I wish the RSI was still going up because obviously, 63 is still a relatively healthy number, right? Again, I think there was a little bit of a Friday sell-off scare here, even though I know NASDAQ didn't like dump by any means, right? I just kind of mentioned that weekend, right? But I'm at least happy we're still over this day, okay? This has been the nice healthy climb. Obviously a good little gap up, a bit of a scare, but hey, we're at least over this. I wish we were over this, and clearly this is what I care about right now. Get us closer to 840. Really, we only have to get to here, right? But yeah, 840 would make me a lot more comfortable. I'm going to go ahead and draw lines on the weekly, and then I'll probably come back. But yeah, I'm hoping that 840 shows itself here. It actually does not. So we'll go ahead and draw this because that is actually all we have. And then from there, these kind of line up with those. So we only get one from that. And then, yeah, I'll go ahead and, no, I don't want to draw that. I'm going to draw this because this is important. If we lose this, we're definitely going to come down to 7, maybe the 8, wherever that lands, right? Because this red turned to green. We don't want it to turn back to red, right? Doesn't look like it'll drop as low, which is actually kind of reassuring. But yeah, if this fails, it will be a quick drop to one of these, and hopefully it'll catch it. From there, yeah, I mean, I guess I do got to draw a line. But at that point, I feel like we're just close enough to the 50. I guess there's still a little, I'm not going to draw it, okay? Obviously, you can see these. At the same time, it's still just a little horizontal blip in a steep downhill that actually kind of keeps going out of this view as well, right? So I think these are good because we have this line, the 50, and then this line. Let me back up one more. Beautiful. I didn't have to make one more because we have the 100 right there. Overall, a golden cross. I'm calling this the long weekend scare. Hopefully we fly back up to this 850 range. I like it. Lucid for sure. I like it. And clearly we can see bad things happen under the 8. Great things happen as you start to break both the 8 and the 20, right? So, and then did I talk about the weekly? I knew I draw some stuff on the weekly, but okay, again, bunch of bad. We're starting to curve a little bit, right? And that is a string of red. So there's a lot of reason to believe we might make a run to this 1144 actually. So, and then where does this actually end? This hits actually 1230. So you might even want to make 1230 a realistic target. So I like that RSI on the weekly. It could have a real nice week if the conditions are right. I like Lucid. I do actually. I'm gonna set an alert. I want to know. No. Let's put it right here. Let's set an alert at 8:30, 8:31. Again, not an indication to immediately buy. Hold on. How close does 8:30 put us to this? What number is this? Yeah, I'll trade 8:30 to 9 something. That sounds all right to me. That's 8:46. Give me this one. 8:31, right back at it. I'm gonna take the bottom of that candle. Cool. There we go. Lucid. Love it. Okay. CHPT. This used to be last. This is a little more into the middle now. Charge point been doing lovely. Gotta love that, right? Definitely a little higher on the RSI. So this might, have a little bit of a cool down, but I can very easily at least seeing maybe one more quick, get a little closer to the 100 before it comes down, okay? I'm obviously loving that go up. I'm loving that go up almost at the 0. Is there going to be enough to break the 2 right there? I don't really know, I'll be honest, because again, that's a pretty high RSI. But what I will care about, let me zoom out. Okay, nice. What I will care about is if we fail, can we use the 50 as a bounce point? Or, hey, if we get a little higher, will the 8 actually golden cross the 50, get it a little closer to here, and then maybe bounce on the 8 and never even touch the 50, right? Looks like the 20 is also curving. Yeah, charge point. Obviously, this down here was the better place to make the move, break that 10 right there. It would have been a pretty healthy 10% rise. Nonetheless, we've broken the 50 with beautiful confirmation, right? So, like I said, though it's a little bit high of an RSI, I think there's reason to believe we'll make a quick push to try to hit 13. What number are you? Maybe 1250 to 1275 will be a little bit of a test, but yeah, I think hopefully we get a little closer to 13. And then, like I said, see how the 50 reacts or see if the 8 can actually be that bounce point. Interesting weekly, right? Because look, red, 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 red turned into a monster green right there. Hey, I don't know if this was earnings related. I don't know if it was just a whole mess of beaten down on a really good stock, right? Because again, I mean, I know I was covering this thing in like, yeah, right here, actually, that makes sense, in the high teens. I know this thing got as this high at some point, obviously, and then just a real bad drop down, right? So still a ways to go for some people that have been holding this for a while to actually get back in the good. But yeah, there's like I said, reason to believe that there's a nice little move to be made. And then again, hopefully will be sustained if the NASDAQ keeps going and we can bounce off the right moving averages up, right? So charge point looking nice. I think I hit too many buttons. Yeah. NIO, coming into NIO. Okay, interesting. Look at NIO right there, right? We almost had a nice double golden cross, right? Slashes the 20 right there. Looks like it wants to slash the 50 right there. Beautiful trading over the 8. If we can get over this line, and like you see, we have actually the last 2 days. I wish this day closed at 81, this day closed at 80. I wish it didn't close a little lower than the day after. That's just a little disappointing. Nonetheless, if this thing hits 1182, there's a good shot that it'll come all the way to this 13 number, because again, there's a bunch of red right here to be filled, right? So I'll go ahead and set an alert, 1185. That's fine with me. Cool. Let me know if that happens. But yeah, this is a beautiful daily chart right here, right? This is a nice little downtrend too, right? Just a couple sprinkles of green in there. So that makes sense why we get a nice little healthy uptrend, right? And almost at the 0, still low enough RSI to actually believe that this thing can keep going. Well, how far is the 200? Seems like it might be a little far, but look, this is really the first good motion on the 50. Hopefully this will be the first real hit on the 100, come back down, and maybe the next one will break it, right? But yeah, NIO is definitely looking really nice on this daily chart. Look at it, right? A whole mess of red right here. Didn't quite fill all the way, came back down. Decent reason to believe we might get a good fill. And actually, I mean, shit, if this thing can break the 1323, there's actually a lot of reason to believe this thing might come to 1750. So NIO is definitely well worth keeping on your radar for sure. Real interesting. I'm going to be honest, I think I'm going to set another one just a little bit lower. Let me know if that 82 that we talked about hits. And then if the 85 follows right after, that'll be interesting to know. The brother or sister to NIO, however you want to look at it, is Lee. Interesting. So Lee is showing more of this battle with the 100, okay? With obviously the 200 being right there. And I remember talking about this last time. Lee could have been your indicator for NIO that this 100 was going to be hard and the fail. I'm going to just show this same view right here. Again, nowhere near the 100 just yet, right? So it's good to use these two together, and I often do, right? Because again, you can get clues from each other. But yeah, if this breaks, this thing can run up to here. And look, that run right there might be where NIO stops. Okay, maybe that's roughly equivalent to where the 100 is here and the 200 is on the other one. But if we hit the 100 well, and even if the RSI is relatively low, I would come look at Lee to see what this looks like. Because yeah, if this doesn't break the 200, I actually don't think NIO will break the 100. Just my 2 cents there, okay? But yeah, this looks good. And again, if this can break up, there's a lot of reason to feel confident there. Again, same nice RSI, MACD, and volume that I'm seeing, at least relatively short term. But yeah, it'll all matter if it could get over this cluster of 2, really. At the minimum, there's reason to believe it'll get to the 2 and then kind of see what happens, right? Let's see what happens around that $25 range. But hey, from $22.50 to $25, that's not a bad move at all. So I like NIO a little better, but yeah, Lee ain't too bad. Okay, Solo went crazy. I know I watched that for sure. I did not trade into it, I'll be real honest with you. But look, it really goes back to what I'm saying, right? When there's just a bunch of red, it gets pretty easy to get a bunch of green kind of to fill that back up. It's not exactly a gap fill, but it ends up kind of being the same thing, okay? Look, that's a super high RSI. We've definitely crossed into the 80s. And, you know, volume's been all right. There's actually only been one monster day, and obviously you see the monster candle with it, right? But volume never went consistently crazy over the 50 moving average, right? But I like that we broke the 50, got a decent gap up, and then, hey, we're at least over this big candle, right? I very much want to get over $1.07 to feel comfortable here. That's for sure. Otherwise, if we lose 99 cents, we might be dropping, yeah, I mean, to 84, if not maybe 88.90, right? So could be a 10% drop right there, easy, right? So just kind of be careful here. Hopefully, never loses the 50, never loses this 99-cent number right there. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, if this holds, let me back up a little bit. I mean, again, though, my problem is this, it's a high RSI. So back of my head, I'm always thinking there's a cool down coming. That's just a nice upward curve, right? So it becomes a little hard to ignore the going up, flattening out. Let's go up a little more, right? I'll be real honest, especially with the MACD still kind of climbing, right? But yeah, 83 makes me gotta believe there's a cool down coming. But solo kind of started falling into the meme chatter. I kind of put it in this heavy downtrend reason, right? But yeah, I would look elsewhere on the video just because, again, this has made a monster jump and the RSI is a little higher. I think there's other ones that are kind of setting up still versus already made a good move. Nonetheless, this is what we want to see on a couple other ones, right? There were a bunch of reds on the weekly. Hopefully we get that reason to believe it'll curve up, right? But I mean, this is still a really good weekly chart. There's actually reasons to believe we might still close over $1.10 by Friday of next week, you know? So there is a lot of reason to believe. And look, if this comes down to like 90, right? That's still kind of okay, right? I would actually say 93. If this can stay on the top of this candle, we'll still be over the 8 and we'll still be over 50% of this. So I'd be okay with that. But yeah, I mean, like I said, there's reason to believe that this actually might still keep going. Interesting. LIDR, coming into LIDR. Again, I think LIDR did pretty well too. I was looking at solo a little more. No, LIDR didn't. But LIDR looks like it might be ready to because, again, look, a bunch of red. Looks like we're finally over the 20. I mean, just let me know if this opens a little bit higher. Let me know what happens at 65 cents. You break 65, there's a lot of reason to believe you're coming to 78, right? This 50 moving average is pretty much right on my line. And actually, if you break this, there's a lot of reason to believe you might come even closer to $1, if not, what is that, 90 cents, right? So almost a 50% gap right there if it hits. So LIDR, I would love to know. And again, goes back to the NASDAQ. If NASDAQ can break that important line, there's a lot of these that are sitting at an important line. So kind of, I like that hand in hand right there. Again, not a beautiful weekly, a whole mess of trading under the 8, but reason to believe we might fill some of this red weekly, right? We've seen that other ones do it. So yeah, LIDR, definitely well worth looking at. EVGO, not EVFO. EVGO. Okay, look, monster volume, good MACD, good RSI. I said that backwards, but you know what I mean. And boom, look, this broke the 8, couldn't quite get the good confirmation. Once it did it the second time and once it got over this line right there, it just flew. And actually I happened to tie up with the 20. But yeah, this is why we love moving averages, right? Break to 20, a lot of reason to believe you're coming up to 50, right? That's just how it works, right? This one's still not that, you know, I get a little worried as it gets closer to 80, not 70. So there might still be reason to believe this is going to hit 650, if not even 7, make a quick attempt at the 100. Yeah, nice, not too shabby. EVGO, can't be too mad at that. Again, real bad weekly. I think that 7 still lines up. Yeah, 675, 680, right? Kind of lines up to that 7 target we just gave on the daily. So EVGO, and look, I love that RSI right there. That's a beautiful peak. 2 out of the last 3 weeks. We're definitely more buying than selling and well over the 50. I'm happy with that. EVGO, looking chill. All this actually kind of makes me believe that the NASDAQ will do well. But again, it starts with the open on the NASDAQ. I'm telling you, if the NASDAQ does not open well, a lot of these won't make the break. Here's another one, right? This one's a little higher. This one's still, I guess, like I said, the 71. I'm not necessarily worried, but that's a big move, right? And I feel like it would need a little bit lower RSI to make it. Nonetheless, maybe it'll come to this right here. You know what? Let's actually delete. There's too many old lines here. Let's delete all 9 and make some new lines. Okay. Definitely want to make one right there. Let me raise it just a little bit. Yeah, that's good right there. Obviously, that's something important there. That's something important there. Do I really even need to draw that right there? Yeah, all right, that's a little tight, but all right, let's draw it. Why not? Okay, break the 100. That's probably going to be the next test. Then that, then that. So I think that's a decent 1, 2, 3. Obviously, I don't really need to draw lines down because those moving averages are kind of becoming our supports. And it actually looks like the 20 wants to start curving up as well. Not too bad, VLDR. Again, I love that this thing broke 2 moving averages on the weekly. There's reason to believe that we might close up here, one of these 2 lines by Friday for that good confirmation. And then from there, it might actually be some smooth sailing all the way to this 150 50 moving average target. So VLDR, not too shabby. Again, I wish this was just a little lower. There were other ones that were still in the 50s, right? That's kind of what I mean. But yeah, there's at least reason to believe this should give confirmation on that 100 break. So not too shabby. And then last but not least is GTEC. I think this one actually started making the gap up, if I'm not mistaken. So let me zoom back out. Again, we talked about it, right? Whole mess of downtrend starts to go horizontal. Some better trading, actually looks like a lot better and fuller candles. Nonetheless, though, you can still see it. This minute chart is not great just yet, okay? We definitely need a little higher volume. That's definitely in the 8K, right? That's super low. We want to be a lot closer to 1 million than 1,000. That's at the very minimum. But technicals still kind of work here, right? Horizontal, fly you up. I just, be careful here if you're moving it, right? At least these give you some sort of guidance, and it was a nice little break up. But yeah, with the low volume, it gets a little scary. That's just my 2 cents. But yeah, hope you're learning. Have a great one. Appreciate your time. And yeah, one more time, hope you're learning.